Welcome everybody, my name is Dr. Lee Jensen and this is the weekly gathering of what we call the I&E Network, Inspiration and Encouragement Network. We've been a gathering and group growing since 1983. We represent some pretty creative talent all over the world, and the idea is to help people start a profitable hobby, discover they have a little talent, develop that talent, master something, and then learn to share it in the marketplace. And we're all pals. We've been friends and associated for quite a long time. So those of you sitting in, either over on my Google Plus account or on the YouTube channel, welcome. It's really amazing to me that more people don't spend more time trying to develop their skills with selling. And so that's what this series of shows is about. We have a master's series in our I&E Network program, where people are gradually developing their skills to the point they're really starting to knock down some decent money and some decent reputation, and growing that as they move their place from an amateur to the master of something. And we produce those shows so that people will gain those skills in a little more predictable way. If your salesmanship just consists of rolling up some mud and throwing it on the wall and hope like the dickens something sticks, that's a pretty terrible way to go at the selling function. But that's how most who are starting with a hobby do it, because they don't know any better. So what I try and do is present as much as I can gather and have gathered out of my 38-year career, the tools and the tricks of the trade that will actually help. And in this new series, this is going to be an 8-part series. We did the first show last week. We're doing the second show tonight. What I'm trying to do is help you come up with a new way of seeing it, a new attitude about what selling really means. And I'm calling it the new trick to sales, because once you begin to get that figured out here, then all of a sudden your capacity to sell and to mix in the marketplace really dramatically improves. So I've got a lot to present tonight. Let's jump on here and get things going with screen share, and we'll pull up this show and go through it. I mentioned this is my 38th year of doing my own career. I started in 1977, and this is our 9th season of doing webinars. The second opportunity to present what we have as training and concepts and ideas showed up on the web. We've tried every one of them, and bless this crew that have kind of stayed with it and stayed through that period of time with me while we were mostly experimenting, is what's led us to now. But I think that gradual evolution of what it takes to make things work is how most business efforts really actually work. So as we go on tonight, we're going to start with the second in the series of 8, and welcome all of you from every corner of the world, whatever is the word that is part of your culture. We welcome you to participate with us, because the selling function is basically the same. The I&E Network started from very humble beginnings, because we really didn't know what we were doing. To begin with, we were helping each other, provide a little inspiration for each other to keep going and stay in the saddle. But then it gradually began to be a part of it was our constant encouraging and supporting effort for each other. And that's the part I didn't see to begin with. It was just the most amazing thing to have a like-minded relationship with people that you know and trust, and then you begin to see that they really do have something to contribute. All of a sudden you begin to get ideas or concepts that really can actually help you grow. So the I&E Network and Profitable Hobbies are the two entities that are presenting these Master's Series courses, and we welcome you tonight to the second show in the new trick. The idea of better selling is something that I think every person could spend more time on. If you're trying to develop yourself in the marketplace and your business is about selling and trading, don't you think you should basically get a handle on this and perhaps continue to work at it for probably the rest of your life? I thought a lot about last week's show, between last week and creating this week's show, of what really happened in your minds. What was it that you took away? What have you been thinking about? What have you been doing since the last show? It's my hope that I can stimulate you into doing something, to getting to a point where you begin to realize that most of the changes that happen in our life come from a singular decision. It's a funny moment. It's a decision moment when you're just literally going to push yourself and get yourself in a position where you can do something.
Say answer or reject.
Nope, I don't want to answer the phone. Not even for my son Chris. And it's so interesting to watch people who can make this permanent decision, this mental shifting that realizes how significant it is, how important it is, and you just cannot let it go. And from then on, it seems to show up in the one human characteristic we call self-confidence. I watched the debates last night. Largest viewing audience in cable television history of 34 million people watched the presidential debate last night for the Republicans. And boy, if you couldn't see this particular element, I can't imagine anybody even putting their hat in the ring to go after becoming president without a ton of self-confidence, except when they got mixed in that really strenuous, stressful circumstance and got hit with those really tough questions. I was shocked. The questions were really aggressive. And I thought, well, that's what we're here for, is to try and get through the side of people that are self-confident and not self-confident. We sure don't want someone without any confidence going after that individual office. But then I kept thinking about the show tonight. What we're trying to do is help a person grow and build this particular trait and characteristic. I've done over 1,000 shows. We were just talking to Jay from Oklahoma, and Jay does a lot of motorcycle engraving, and he's got a lot of events that he does through the summer. And these individual marketing occasions, I like to call them event marketing. You're mixing with the public with what you're trying to sell. So be it a gun show, be it a motorcycle show, be it a car show, whatever you're going after with your product direction, you want to try and drop it in the middle of people that are like-minded. And these event marketing occasions are just phenomenal. Tammy and I went up last weekend to see Denny Wainscott, and he was in the Park City show. And from the beginning of Denny's career to his best gourd has sold now for $20,000. It looked to me like his average sale was between $3,000 and $5,000 now at this show. But Denny has had as much experience with selling himself as anyone in our circle, and has excelled at it. He's done extremely well. But I remember when he was just beginning, because he wasn't growing then. He didn't have this self-confidence. And in those first few months when he was trying, and years, when he was trying to figure out what can I do and how can I do it, there's so much that you need to keep trying. Even when it doesn't work out well, you have to have a mentality that says, I'm going to go back and try it again, I'm going to try it again, and I'm going to try it again until I get it right. And if you can make that decision and keep that in your life so that you literally get to the point that you're going to learn this. If you tell yourself you can't, then you're toast. You don't have a chance right from the beginning. I've used a principle that I developed for myself first. I call it the toe chain principle. And if the load of your life is pulled along by a chain, but you're wired together and tied together like this with a tie down, Boy, that's tough to make a business work when this is how it's put together. You just have such a tough time with that. And I have attributed, there's all these human characteristics, human traits attributed to every link between you and the Lord of what you're trying to accomplish. And some people are terrible at time management. Some people are terrible with their money. Some people are too cautious. Some are really timid, very hesitant, and some have attitude troubles. And some are just plain poor at trading, the trading mechanism. So when you load up to go accomplish anything, what you do is put pressure on this individual link, and it will break right there every time. And when you begin to realize that this is the issue. This really is the primary issue of learning to sell well. Because generally seeing ourselves and reading where we're weakest is what we struggle with the most. It's like if we admit this link is weak, then it makes us disabled as a human being. And it really is an interesting challenge to kind of look at this circumstance from this perspective and then realize that wouldn't it be just absolutely incredible if we could spot our own individual weaknesses. I think that's huge in the function. And tonight we're going to tackle that. This is the second show of this series. And I started out by mixing Og Mandino's Greatest Salesman in the World. And we're going to mix that into what we're doing here. But we're also going to take a look and see if we can't spot some of your softer links. This is a list that's fairly inclusive of most human reasons for giving up. And we're going to take each one of them, and I'd like you to kind of just measure yourself and look at your own circumstances a little bit and see if you can't sense where you maybe have troubles. If you expect fast results in most things that are progressive and really well, the things that really help you in your life, it isn't usually going to happen. Nothing great happens fast. But boy, expectations can really be a challenge when it comes to salesmanship. We just think, well, I should get this quicker than that. But this is particularly one of life's most challenging skills. The next one's if you stop believing in yourself. This one a lot of people suffer with. They have a belief for a time, and then they try and try and try, and things don't work out, and they just give up. And you just cannot let this overpower you. And I think belonging to the I&E network and participating with us is one of the things that actually does help with that. Other people get stuck in the past. It's never too late to start over. We weren't happy with yesterday, try something different today. Don't stay stuck. Do better. Stuck in the past is a real nasty trap. And it never is productive, not in the long run. Too many people dwell on their mistakes. Winners build on mistakes, losers dwell on them. It's like you've got an excuse for not succeeding, so you dwell on what you've done wrong. And you just can't let that overpower what you're trying to do now. So, what time is it? I know a lot of people say, well, I'm going to wait till 8 o'clock. Or it's 12 now, I think I'll wait till 4. It's 4, I think I'll wait till 9. And I saw this picture the first time. I've had it ever since Google Plus started. And I saw that picture and I just went, oh, boys, girls. Now is the time, okay? A lot of people fear the future. I think it's interesting when they make the statement, the greatest barrier to success is the fear of failure. And is that not true? But seeing it in ourselves and overcoming it in ourselves, that's also requires what I think Og Mandino's book helps produce and helps make work out. You've got to learn to transform your fear into action and not let it hold you back ever. Too many people resist change. The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Now, Socrates came up with this 3,000 years ago, and it still is an issue. Isn't it interesting he would use these same words? Because it still is a degree of resistance to change that really messes with a lot of human productivity. Interesting finger paint on the wall. Huh? Resist change, you'll be here forever. A lot of people give up their own power. You just can't ever let a stumble in the road be the end of your journey. And we are the ones that make those decisions. We're the ones that either impact our lives for better or not. And we can blame other people and other circumstances, but it usually is our own fault. If our weaknesses rule, then we can't accomplish much either. And the only way to get past our weaknesses is to do a little more each day than you think you possibly can. Strength is gained when we face our individual weaknesses. Out of things that are the weak links in your circumstance in your life is where you will actually find the strongest link eventually. One of them on that list is people that think the world owe them a living. And I think this is just plowing the modern world. There are so many young kids, I can tell by my conversation with them, that they think somehow the world owes them success or a degree of success, and then they'll go on from there. And Mark Twain was probably the one person in the world that hit it hardest. The world just flat doesn't owe us anything. If you fear failure more than you have a desire for success, then this is the only option that you have. This direction means that you'll take on failure. Take on that risk. A lot of people never visualize the possibilities. I love this picture, this cute, great picture. This is a Gary Price kind of sculpture. He loves these kinds of images. Listen to the Munson's child, listen to the don'ts, listen to the shouldn'ts, the impossibles, the won'ts. Listen to the never haves, then listen close to me. Anything can happen, child. Anything can be. I don't know how you were individually brought up. I hope you had parents that were supportive of you and helped you get past the mustn'ts, the don'ts, and the shouldn'ts, and the impossibles. Because some parents think that's their role in life, is to put the chains on the future and the potential of their children. And it takes a great deal when you're brought up in that circumstance to get to a mental perspective that anything is possible. A few people are affected dramatically by the idea that they're going to lose something. They don't dare risk, because if you risk and lose, then you lose something. You cannot let your happiness depend on that possibility. You've got to get over this one and get to the point where you realize that a degree of
Can y'all hear me? No.
Yeah, we sure can, Johnny. But we need to mute it.
Well, all I've got is a black. Everything is still, and in the middle of it is a blue circle, and that's it. Mel Jones muted, Edward Abels, but now my computer is not moving or doing anything but waiting for you to, or for him to start talking. How the heck can I? No, I'm out. It looks like I'm out of the picture.
No, I think Lou got bounced.
Oh,
Yeah, I lost Lou.
well, I see a picture of him, but there's nothing else.
No, mine. He's totally dropped off this film strip for me.
Yeah.
Give him a call, Mel. Tell him he's off the air. He's still alive, though, but not broadcasting.
We'll have to look for that little box that says Lou joined the hangout again, but I don't know if he can or not, if he got booted, because he's the one that started it. He might not be able to get back in.
Well, I got his phone ringing.
The world of high-tech gadgets.
Yeah. You got kicked. Yeah. Yeah, we just informed him that he got kicked out.
He wasn't sure.
No.
No, there's no way
he
he
sees
can
his screen and he just talks.
Yeah.
I can see you guys on and off, but that's all. I don't know what you do with. What'd you do with Lou?
We didn't do nothing with him. He was going
He was a bad
along,
boy.
and I
got
think he
kicked out.
overloaded his bandwidth.
He did it all on his own.
Yeah, overmodulated or something.
I don't know. His mic was cutting in and out. I could
Yeah.
sometimes.
Well, he
You
has
guys
to
having some
learn.
problems?
I think he has to learn that he's got to clean out his browser history and cache every now and then to keep his computer clean when he does a hangout, because if you don't do that, you're going to wind up in trouble.
Yeah,
Hangouts
kinda
use a
like
lot
he
of
did.
resources.
Now mine says Dr. Lou Jensen joined this video.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah,
Here I am.
Yeah,
There I
there's his
am.
picture.
we'll
Yeah.
go back to muting ourselves again.
What? Where did I cut out? Right when you called, Mel?
Oh, no, you were gone for
About
5 minutes
4
before
or 5
that.
minutes before that.
Okay. All right. I'll round it off and just start it right at the
Where the little girl was, Mel, Dr. Lou, was where you, we saw of you, was that that thing with the picture with the little girl.
Okay.
That was the last of it.
The Shel Silverstein quote.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Lance.
Okay, there we go. Let's go back to right here then. Right about there. Okay. Now, if you feel like you'll lose something, you're not going to risk it. You will likely hold back, and great happiness depends on the fact that you let go. Because, yes, you might lose, but you might gain. The real thing in all of business to learn is that there's always a degree of risk, and it's directly proportional to the reward. So whatever you're going after, if it's a great reward, you're going to have a lot of risk. There's just no way to get around that. And once you begin to be more comfortable with thinking about it, then at least you've got a chance. This is the category that I think we get caught. We don't realize how overworked we really are. We don't know how to say no, and we're responsible for way too much in our lives, and we get overburdened with all this other stuff, and then we literally can't get to what we really ought to be doing with our lives because it's just stacked so deep that we can't accomplish hardly anything. Then if you assume your problems, no one else has problems or doesn't have your kind of problems, really is not good thinking to consider that that's all there is, and that's you, and that's your circumstance. You've got to realize that everyone has problems. If you see the future as a signal to turn back, boy, you just can't accomplish anything going forward. With this kind of mentality and this kind of thinking, you're stuck as well. And of course, feeling sorry for ourselves. I'm pretty sure this is something we all deal with, we all struggle with. It's just really hard to keep yourself going and in the saddle. I've wondered how many actually are going to do what I'm just going to suggest with Og Mandino's book and this course. When it's one of the greatest sales tools out there, and it's one of the most successful selling tools, I can't imagine anyone that wouldn't give this a good go. And if you've got the book and acquired the scrolls, or you've gone on YouTube and picked up that scroll series, the same ones I'm using, give this a chance to work. If you didn't sense from the very first one, the very first introduction to the book and the first scroll are talking about the habits that we form. And the habit of forming is what we're going to do with our mentality. It's what we're doing with our personal self-confidence to build our self-confidence. And right when Og Mandino's book hit me, this book hit me when I've taken my first test in dental school, and I had failed it. In fact, I failed it so bad I got the worst score in the entire class, my freshman class in dental school. And I just thought it was over. I just figured there is no way in the world I'm going to make it through this. I'd wanted to be a dentist since the 9th grade, but I wasn't smart enough. I didn't have enough money. It was too tough. I had a whole pile of excuses around me. And now that I'd failed my first test, I had proof that I wasn't capable of getting through this whole ordeal. And then all of a sudden, Og Mandino's book showed up. And when I started to read these scrolls and decided that maybe this would work for me, maybe this would help for me, I had no idea the long-term impact of these kinds of habits. When you repeat good skills and keep after them, then they become good habits. And all of a sudden, that is how you then begin to change your life. This really is the substance of the whole first portion. He said, I make a solemn oath to myself that nothing will retard my life's growth. I will lose not a day from these readings, for that day cannot be retrieved, nor can I substitute another for it. I must not, I will not break this habit of daily reading from these scrolls. And in truth, the few moments spent each day on this new habit are but a small price to pay for the happiness and the success that will become mine. Now, I know a few people that don't know enough about selling, and they'll look at this and they'll go, I don't know if that has anything to do with selling at all. I'm going, every one of these scrolls were extremely well crafted. He really went after the idea of what does it take to improve my selling capacity. Were I to become the greatest salesman in the world, I've got to develop some of these individual scrolls, okay? Somebody's got their microphone open. Can you check your mics and get them all shut down, please? Scroll 2, I'll welcome happiness, for it enlarges my heart. Yet I will endure sadness, for it opens my soul. I will acknowledge rewards, for they are my due. Yet I will welcome obstacles, for they are my challenge. I will greet this day with love in my heart. My reasoning they may counter, my speech they may distrust, my apparel they may disapprove, my face they may reject, and even my bargains may cause them suspicion. Yet my love will melt all hearts like unto the sun, whose rays soften the coldest clay. I will greet this day with love in my heart. The most of all I will love myself, For when I do, I will zealously inspect all things which enter my body, my mind, my soul, and my heart. Never will I overindulge the requests of my flesh. Rather, I will cherish my body with cleanliness and with moderation. My shield will protect me in the marketplace, sustain me when I'm alone. It will uplift me in moments of despair, yet it will calm me in times of exaltation. It will become stronger and more protective with use until one day I will cast it aside and walk unencumbered among all manners of men. And when I do, my name will be raised high on the pyramid of life. In the Orient, young bulls are tested for the fight arena in a certain manner. Each is brought to the ring and allowed to attack a victor who pricks them with a lance. The bravery of each bull is then rated with care according to the number of times he demonstrates his willingness to charge in spite of the sting of the blade. I will greet this day with love in my heart, and how will I react with the actions of others? With love. For just as love is my weapon to open the hearts of men, love is also my shield to repulse the arrows of hate. The spears of anger, adversity, and discouragement will beat against my new shield and become as the softest of rains. I will love the young for the faith they hold. I will love the old for the wisdom they share. I will love the beautiful for their eyes of sadness. I will love the ugly for their souls of peace. I will greet this day with love, and I will succeed. These two single words in the economy, they're what happened today. Things were sold and things were bought. And this trading is the economy. If nothing is bought or sold, then nothing happens and everything just moves into this hibernation mode. And yet it just shocks me the number of people that don't know how to participate with this, how to put this into your circumstance and into your life and have it change your individual circumstances. When you have a concept that your studio is designed to basically be more productive for you, you're literally going to get better and develop the fact that it's one thing to make the work and produce it, and it's another thing to trade it and do well in the marketplace. And you've just got to be comfortable with the fact that you're going to do your best to try and make that actually work out. Today I will greet this day with love in my heart, and how will I confront each whom I meet in only one way? In silence and to myself I will address them and say, I love you. Though spoken in silence, these words will shine in my eyes and unwrinkle my brow, bring a smile to my lips and echo in my voice, and his heart will be open. And who is there who will say nay to my goods when his heart feels my love? Now this, I don't know how you're thinking right now or what's even going on in your mind, but when we go to an event and we've spent the money and the time to take the company and go out and market our product and what it is that we sell, I set the stage for everybody that's participating in the selling process. I've done it for years. I take the morning before the doors open and we talk together amongst ourselves, and I said, I want you to sense with your heart people who need what it is we have. Don't just let reality guide each of your conversations and your moods. Listen to the spirit, listen to your heart, listen to what's going on. I remember one of the greatest times in my whole life was as we were going into the big IWF furniture show in Los Angeles. Huge, huge show. And I had Lance and James Jensen and myself, we were doing the show together, and I taught the boys how to do this. I says, in your mind, we're looking for the one person today who really needs what it is we have. They'll walk into the booth and we'll all know at the exact same time that they're there because they're supposed to be there. And when it happened, they looked at me like they were so startled with it, the fact that it actually worked the way I said it would work. And I says, everyone thinks that salesmanship is this trickery thing, that you're just playing the shell game and that's selling. And I'm going, no, it's not. What it is planting seeds of inspiration and encouragement. Every human being out there needs to know that their life matters and that they count. And to the degree you can sustain them in that quest, then the relationship to trade with them changes dramatically. From this moment, I'll take the first step required to become a man among men. With love, I will increase my sales 100-fold and become the greatest salesman. If I have no other qualities, I will succeed with love alone. Without it, I will fail, though I possess all the knowledge and skills of the world. I will greet this day with love in my heart. Henceforth will love all mankind. From this moment, all hate is left from my veins. For I have not time to hate, only time to love. Never will I allow my mind to be attracted to evil and despair. Rather, I will uplift it with the knowledge and wisdom of the ages. Never will I allow my soul to become complacent and satisfied. Rather, I will feed it with meditation and prayer. Never will I allow my heart to become small and bitter. Rather, I will share it, and it will grow and warm the earth. I was not delivered unto this world in defeat, nor does failure course in my veins. I am not a sheep waiting to be prodded by my shepherd. I am a lion and refuse to talk, to walk, to sleep with the sheep. I will hear not those who weep and complain, for their disease is contagious. Let them join the sheep. The slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. I will persist, and I will until I succeed. I'll avoid despair, but if this disease of the mind should affect me when I will work on in despair, I will toil and I will endure. I will ignore the obstacles at my feet and keep mine eyes on the goals above my head. For I know that where dry desert ends, green grass grows. A little hard to remember that sometimes when we're on the dry desert. I will just persist until I succeed. The prizes of life are at the end of each journey, not near the beginning, and it is not given to me to know how many steps are necessary in order to reach my goal. Failure I may still encounter at the 1,000th step, yet success hides behind the very next bend in the road. Never will I know how close it lies unless I turn the corner. Always will I take another step. If that is of no avail, I will take another and yet another, and in truth, one step at a time is not too difficult. I will persist until I succeed. Will never consider defeat, and I will remove from my vocabulary such words and phrases as quit, cannot, unable, impossible, out of the question, improbable, failure, unworkable, hopeless, and retreat, for they are the words of fools. I will remember the ancient laws of averages, and I will bend it to my good. I will persist with knowledge that each failure will will increase my chance for success at the next attempt. Each nay I hear will bring me closer to the sound of yea. Henceforth I will consider each day's efforts as but one blow of my blade against the mighty oak. The first blow may cause not a tremor in the wood, nor the second, nor the third. Each blow of itself may be trifling and seem no consequence. Yet from childish swipes the oak will eventually tumble. So it will be with my efforts of today. Henceforth will I recognize that each day I am tested by life in like manner. If I persist, I will continue to try. If I continue to charge forward, I will succeed. I must persist until I succeed. Nor will I allow yesterday's success to lull me into today's complacency, for this is the great foundation of failure. I will forget the happenings of the day that is gone, whether they are good or bad, and greet the new sun with confidence that this will be the best day of my life. What if tomorrow was the best day of your life? Could it not be? What happens if things happen in a certain way and something you've been dreaming about or working on for a long time in your life just dropped right in your lap tomorrow? or the day after that. I mean, there's no way to know. And yet our attitude about it is usually what determines it. And we're the ones that determine the future. So if you can learn and apply another secret of those who excel in my work when each day is ended, not regarding whether it has been a success or a failure, I will attempt to achieve one more sale. When my thoughts beckon my tired body homeward, I will resist the temptation to depart, and I will try again. If this isn't the secret of selling, I don't know what in the world is. When I go to an event and I'm spending my time and my money to be there to market, I am there to market. I am there, the first one there, and I'm generally the last one to leave. This particular part of the scroll has really rubbed off on me, and I think it has made all the difference in the success of the business over the years. I will try and try and try again. Each obstacle I will consider as a mere detour of my goal and a challenge of my profession. I will persist and develop my skills as the mariner develops his, by learning to ride out the wrath of each storm. I will persist until I succeed. Each frown I meet only prepares me for the smile to come. Each misfortune I encounter will carry in it the seed of tomorrow's good luck. I must have the night to appreciate the day. I must fail often to succeed only once. I will persist until I succeed.
2097276002 is
This guy's on Google Plus a lot, a billionaire that owns a Virgin company, and he's challenging people's perceptions and possibilities. Should be an ever-present motivator in the business's journey. It really is fun when you begin to sense you're on to something new, something that really might actually make a difference in your life. I asked you last week to think about and consider what you think Profitable Hobbies really is selling. And I'm going to try and build into this 8 sequential series of shows the keys to the box that allows us to sell our package. I think Lou Jensen stumbled onto a way to sell our several $100 kit for our drill for several $1,000s as a kit. So we change the perception of value of the concept and the product, and it works better than selling it just as a tool. It's so interesting to look at the entire wood hobby business and the tools and the materials and everything that's sold. Everything is sold as an line item individually. And then you either teach yourself or you go find someone that will help you learn, or you get on YouTube or whatever. And most in the marketplace who play with this kind of concept are very used to giving away everything that they've then learned how to do. There's several on the web who make videos and teach what they've learned how to do and put them up there for free and have no fee involved, none whatsoever. And we all go, God, I'm glad he'll do that. Teach me for free. But ultimately, that doesn't help the economy, nor does it help the marketplace, and it certainly doesn't help the person that's actually doing the work effort. Someone has to pay for all of these trades that are made. And the more you undercut that potential for trading, the more you actually hurt the process of what happens that allows things to be traded. So you really have to be cautious with what you're willing to sell and what you're willing to trade for. I'm going to share with you every show an individual concept that I think is really important to never forget. If you're going to learn to sell systems and learn to participate with me in this New Star program, one of the funnest things you can possibly do is every time you meet someone new, they're out in the marketplace, they're out in the economy, they've got a nice new truck, they've got a beautiful new gun, whatever, and you see that item, you look at it, comment on how great it looks, and then you say, it just needs one more thing. Now this is our line. We've developed this over 38 years. And I kid you not, you just stab people when they're really proud of whatever they've got, but it's not personalized yet. What a great new motorcycle. It just needs one more thing. And it is such a fish hook. This is the funnest sentence to learn in our business there is. It is the most amazing thing how it works. Because I'll see some kid, I used it a couple of days ago, a kid had a brand new vet. I said, man, what a good looking Corvette. I says, I used to have one just about like it. I says, yours just needs one more thing. And it gives you a conversation. It opens the door to more discussion about what it is we do with custom personalization. So write this little sentence down on a piece of paper, tape it on the mirror in your bathroom, and bring this along with your efforts to bring along Augmentino scrolls. Now I'm going to go through all the scrolls in 8 weeks and do them in my course here for you. But you could take the book and start doing with the book just as he prescribes. Read each scroll for a month, morning, noon, and night. I'm asking a lot here, but that's what it takes to change your habits. That's what it takes to change your individual thinking. All the things that don't work, all the things that mess up with people's heads and thinking and keeps them from having any degree of self-confidence with selling is right here. And you can break past that and get through it. I had no idea what I was beginning to develop when I began to pull this into my life in dental school. But Augmentino's life and that book, and Albert Hubbard's life and that book, and James Allen and his book As a Man Thinketh, those 3 books reset the course of my whole life's productivity. You've got to learn how to match with human nature your own abilities and skills. You have to realize that it takes 6 times before most people can make up their mind about anything. So unless you put this into the process of what we're doing here, and you realize that there's got to be at least 6 different occasions from the moment you introduce somebody to a new idea, you plant the seed, there better be 6 occasions at least before they're ever going to actually do something with us. And as soon as we developed our selling programs to accommodate this very normal function in human nature, not much happened. Okay? So far, we've talked about love that's always in your heart. You're going to persist, which is nothing more worthwhile than persisting and then sticking to it, which means you go above and beyond, or what you're beginning to develop as a habit because of Augmentino scrolls, okay? There was a moment in my life when I thought I'd gone as far as I could, and this moment showed up with Augmentino scrolls, and it changed everything from that point forward in my life. And I think the reason is I did exactly what Mandino was suggesting. And later on at the last show, I'll tell you what happened, because I got to meet him eventually and exchanged even more. Just can't believe how much difference his individual work effort made in my own life. I'm convinced that several times every day we each cross lots of opportunities. We have lots of whispers and threads of passion that show up. And if we could just open that door, then the reason for our life living will also show up. It is why I do this. It is why I get better at the selling function. And we're going to learn how to measure it. The first rule of better selling is measurement. That which you cannot measure, you cannot manage. You'll hear some successful salespeople. It's kind of a tidbit of jargon, but it really is true. They'll say it's just a numbers game. And the numbers game means that you track what you've done, measured against what you hope to have done, and then you watch for the harvest as it's coming. So there really is a way to kind of track and measure your individual efforts. If you don't bother to do that, then you really have no way to manage it either. And the whole goal now is to get from where you are to something better. What will it take for you to pull your individual life from here over to here? It's a little hard for me to describe to most people how selling my individual work has been just a joy. I've loved making it. I've loved marketing it. I love everything about it even beyond my dental career. But had I not learned to sell what I have learned how to do as well, the business would be way less productive. There's 80 million people tonight in the United States alone who are scared of their future. They're concerned as hell about the gap between what they have as opposed to what they need. And if you can plant the seed of a profitable hobby as a possible answer, you just have no idea how powerful this individual product is in that individual economy. Chris and I are out trying to solve problems right now. We've been out looking for a van that we can load him up a little easier on his wheelchair and move him down the road. And so tomorrow we're going to have looks like we've finally found what we're looking for. But it's interesting, when we go out together to solve those problems, our expectation is that we will be able to solve the problems. And that once you get the attitude that I'm good at this, I'm not the least bit intimidated by the money-making side of the hobby anymore. I've done it for so many years. I just know that opportunity is going to show up constantly. And it is a gold mine. Whenever anybody asks you, what business are you in, you will be really smart to say, I'm in the thank you business. Because that's a really clever way of saying custom personalization. And it invites more questions, more comments, more reaction. I've never said it yet. I told this to the governor the other day. He says, well, Lou, he says, what's your business now? And I said, well, actually, I'm in the thank you business. And that leads to all kinds of more. You want to have concepts and answers that you can present to people that will lead to your interaction with them more, not less. And then we're going to cultivate your craziness a little more. Okay? I think you have to be a little crazy to succeed in life anyway. Start your studio. Start it as a dream. If it's nothing more than a dream to begin with, and then just don't back off. Give it your own name. Name it something that's extremely meaningful to you, and this is where you're going to use your creativity and your imagination to take on the rest of the economy and the rest of the marketplace. I think profitable hobbies is about as good a little business as there is on the planet. Our kits have sold well for over 30 years now. We've got a track record from hell, and we've got success stories 80 feet deep. And all I'm going to do is put all this stuff on the web and make them tools that you can then use. The same tools. And begin to market systems just like Tammy does. I've kind of fallen in love with this slide now. I use it a lot in my life. The older I get, the less I care about what people think. And the older I get, the more I'm enjoying my life. I hope there's something in here that will begin to stir a little bit of a fire in you, because if you could realize what I'm really trying to share is the very point of the business that has made it so damn productive. We got it to $5 million a year in sales, and it's a lot of fun to play with that kind of a concept. So, get your book. Don't back off here now. Make this Augmandino moment be one that actually works for you, okay? Any concept, any comment? Anybody want to say anything, Ron? You got something you want to add?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
A couple things. It's funny how this book you brought up, and it's what you started with. I think it was about a week ago, or at least the beginning of the week, but I think it was last week, the end of last week. how a quote from Napoleon Hill ties in with what we're doing here with Augmendino. And the quote is, patience, persistence, and perspiration are an unbeatable combination for success. And since I posted that, I've seen it, that same quote, that same graphic, posted by others who, some shared mine, or they grasped onto it and they found it and they shared it, which is fine. But it's funny, you know, and we talked about this, how things just tie together, and if you have a, not just an open mind, but a clear mind, how things just flow into your life at the right time, and they're there for you. The answers are there. They're floating around someplace. You just got to be ready to accept them. The other thing, you said, what does profitable hobbies sell? It sells self-confidence, creativity, financial freedom, and a lifestyle. That's what profitable hobbies sells. And that
Good.
lifestyle part I got from you when I used to visit with you at the shows and pick your brain. And the biggest thing I remember, and it was the first time I heard it, was, Ron, you got to start at your retirement age. How do you want to live your life? What do you want to do when you retire? And work it backwards and start planning now as to what you're going to have to do to get to that point. And today my wife said to me, she said, you know, she said, we're really blessed. I said, yes, we are. She said, we can go on vacation, we can do this and we can do that, and we really don't have to worry. She said, yeah, we could lose it all. But she said, we're blessed with our lifestyle that we have. And I'm thinking, part of that came from you, Lou. You taught me that.
Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you.
I think you either are content with how your life is or you're not. And if you're not, I've said this, I'll bet 50 times since my sister passed away. I've bumped back into my old family and my old life and my patience and everything back in Vernal, because we've had to go back so much this month and get things taken care of. And every time I bump into everybody, they say, what are you doing now, Doc? You have the most interesting life. and I keep thinking, when I first met Woody and I had the idea for the drill, and I started to just whisper to people that I'm thinking I might quit dentistry and go chase this dream. Oh, good Lord, I got the most incredibly negative comments and reactions from everybody. Everybody wanted to just boil me in oil. There's no way that you can't. You're a dentist. You can't quit being a dentist. And it came from my wife. It came from my parents. It came from everybody. You can't quit. And then I ran into Woody Searle, and Woody said, Lou Jensen, if you don't fix your life, who in the hell's going to fix it for you? Because nobody comes along and does this stuff. No one. It is a personal circumstance where you make the decision and make the choice, I'm going to get good at this selling function. I am not going to back off. I'm going to learn how to trade in the marketplace and the economy. If we've had all this success with the selling of a kit, why in the hell would all you talk about is that drill? Because it's not the drill that's the secret. It's what you do with it. What he told me is, Lou, you got this all backwards. You're selling the wrong thing. He says, you want to sell what you've learned how to do and pass that on. And if there's a million people out there tonight, I would take my last breath on this. There's a million men and women out in the economy tonight sitting right this second half panicked over their future, wishing they could find some way to close the gap between what they have and what they don't have. And if it could be a little bit fun and making that income and do that too, oh Lord, they'll split heaven and earth to pick up a kit and come play with us. And all you have to do is learn to be able to plant the seeds and then stay with it long enough, okay? These little concepts I'm putting into here, all all that one line sentence is, it just needs one more thing. That sentence is the funniest damn line in our lives because all the masters know it for sure. We're up walking down the street in Park City, and all these artists are there with all their stuff, and I've got some slides I'm going to show you next week. Just, it's so obvious they're doing such a terrible job of their marketing and their salesmanship, and yet they're in one of the better shows. Park City is a deadly show to be involved in, and they're just doing such a, and I'm going to point some of it out. I'm going to show you some of the mistakes. And then we walked up, this guy had just a killer set of knives out, just beautiful set of knives, and that's where Jim Sig got his start, was the Park City Art Show. And Tammy's standing there, and she turned to me and she says, geez, these are beautiful knives. They just need one more thing. The guy just lit up. What? You know, it was just unbelievable how fast that the reaction happened from that individual moment. And we laughed all the rest of the day because those are things we've learned that you can say and things you can do at individual moments that are just about irresistible. They work every time. And I think if you learn some of those things and then begin to realize, I personally think there's $100 grand a year under every one of you selling kits if you just will really dig in here now. I'm going to make every effort I can to teach you and help you and share this with you. And you just know that it's not easy. I'm not talking about little reward here. I'm talking about great reward. But would $100 grand in sales this year of selling systems make a difference in your life? Can you even imagine that? And it does tend to multiply. What I'm playing with the bigger perspective. I wasn't willing to just sell a tool. I couldn't see that ever paying the bills or ever actually working. And so we developed a kit. Now there's, is there a dozen companies out there that try to knock us off and do the exact same thing, and or just sell a tool, and or anything. They just look at what Profitable Hobbies has accomplished, and they're trying to pick us off every way they possibly can. Well, I'm going to pull some of you in on the inside of the company and have you tie in with Tammy and what she's trying to do from here forward, and see if we can't launch that effort. We are starting to build a brand new handpiece. The handpiece is on its way now. It's going to be the best high-speed handpiece ever made on the planet. It's going to be my last one, and that will be the tool that will be in the middle of the function. It's also going to involve the Veterans Program a great deal. We've got a dozen different things building underneath what's going on in the entire Veterans Program nationally. And there's a lot of vets out there who could really enjoy playing with this concept if we could just help them find a way to finance it and pull it into their lives. So, any other comments? Mel?
Yeah. Life is, there's only one constant in life, and you need to accept it and embrace it with great expectation, and that's change.
Yeah, that is it.
No 2 days are alike. No 2 moments are alike. So don't worry. Be happy.
And what a blessing. What a blessing. I can't think of anything that would be worse than have every day be the same.
Oh, that'd be boring as hell.
Wouldn't that be terrible?
Yeah, I never did like doing repetitive work.
Most of us don't. Most of us are terrible at repetitive anything. We just cannot do that well. So that's one of the I guess the factors you're looking for is if people are pretty creative and they like to have the change in life, then they're usually our kind of person.
And the best thing that we do is make things different each time.
Each time.
And we try different ideas, and well, what if I did this, or what if I did that? What would happen? How would it turn out? Well, let's give it a try.
Yeah, and you can't resist trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. When that thought shows up in my brain, I'm dead because I gotta try it. I will just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it till I try it.
And don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Nope.
Because there's always a way.
Always a way.
And I've had I've had clients say, "Can you do this?" "Sure, I can do that." After they leave and we've discussed price, I go, "Now how the hell am I going to do this?
How am I going to figure that out?
How am I going to pull this off?"
That's when it's nice to have each other to call and talk to, isn't it, Mel?
Yeah. Well, you
somebody help you suffer.
Start with the picture of the end in mind of your masterpiece.
Yeah.
And you just work backwards through the steps that you have to take in order to get there, from raw material to finished product. It's like setting up your own blueprints.
That's such a good thing. That's a good thing. What do you think, Lance Larson?
Well, I'm enjoying it. I picked up that book immediately, and I've been trying to find a little bit of time here and there to keep reading it. I don't want to jump too far ahead. I'm kind of enjoying going a little bit at a time. Yeah, you never know what kind of weird things are going to pop in to your life with this type of business and with this type of lifestyle. I mentioned a while back that I went to the SAI banquet, and I sold. They auctioned off a gift certificate. Well, I finally met with the gentleman after he went on an African safari first. I finally met with him, and he has an old rifle of his grandfather's he wants me to carve. And he said, "Oh, by the way, I got one other one I want you to carve for me." And he pulls out about a $5,000 engraved top-of-the-line collector's piece that he wants me to put some African game animals on. I've never even seen anything like that. I didn't even know they made one quite like this in this model, and pretty exciting. Also pretty intimidating right now, but that's about 4 times more expensive than any rifle I've ever worked on, but it's just going to be beautiful with what he wants.
Yeah.
Don't sweat the small stuff, Lance.
You're ready. You're ready for it now,
It's just
buddy.
the rifle.
It's just a challenge I'm looking so forward to. I tell you, it's just a blast.
And like when somebody asks me, "Well, how can you engrave on a truck window?" It's easy. It's a piece of glass.
You just think of it that way, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I engraved my own truck. That's a $45,000 truck. Big deal.
The key is I'll take the stock off it. I won't think about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a chunk of wood.
You will still think about it, I guess.
Oh, I will. I know I will. I got photos of it and everything.
Those early expensive jobs you do, they just make you just about die inside. But it's part of the self-confidence factor.
Scary.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of getting after it. And with our whole system, you can practice on scrap and do it till you've got the carving right.
I'll probably do a couple of them first.
Yeah, do a couple of them first, and then put them over on the original. I said, it's just silly to make a $45,000 truck window your first thing you ever touch in your life. That's a little foolish, so we don't do it that way.
Just remember how to put the stock back on, Lance.
I'm going to put it on to him to take it off. I don't want
get all that engraving done, and then you
don't want to
put
have
it back together. You're in real trouble.
And just having million stock.
Jay, have you had a similar kind of, is some of this stuff making some sense with you? Because you jumped into the actual event marketing thing as much as anybody, and we talked just before the show started about your shows and your events and how you're becoming more comfortable with them, but you also have the nature that braces you for trouble. It braces you for the reaction of things that aren't what you expected and what you hoped for. And I think you have to have that kind of mentality, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you really
Helps
do.
you with preparation.
It's, being in the motorcycle world, it's one of those where, kind of an old saying that my dad taught me years ago. You hope for the best, but expect the worst. That way you're never disappointed. And in the motorcycle world, that's really what you do. You know, you hope for the best, but but you have the expectation that, okay, I'm going to get all the way done with this thing, and then, the others going to come back. Well, that's not exactly what I had envisioned,
Yeah.
And it's one of those chances that you take, Mel was talking about his $40,000 truck and all that. Some of these bike rallies, I'll see, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 custom built bikes.
Yeah.
And, in fact, like you're talking about your little saying that you like using. I had a guy, over the past couple of years, back where he come by my booth several times throughout a rally, for the past couple of years. And he'll come around, 11, 12 o'clock at night, let me take here, have a cold beer with me, And I kept asking him about the bike. Where's your bike? What kind of bike do you have? Where's your bike? And he finally brought it around one day. I'm like, hey, nice bike and stuff. I said, but what makes it yours? He goes, what do you mean? I say, well, I see 4 other bikes sitting out there that looks exactly like yours. I said, what makes it yours? And he stopped and thought about it. And he goes, you know something? He goes, that is a good question. I have no idea. Because what do you recommend?
Yeah.
And I ended up working on his bike right there at the rally.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those things where you have to take the good with the bad, especially doing event marketing. I can do 3 rallies in a row, all 3 at the same place. One rally might be, just a buster weekend, and the next rally I don't make anything at all. You never know. You can't let that beat you.
Well, I appreciate. Anybody else got any comments? Ed, do you want to say something tonight before we wrap it up? Joni?
Yeah, I just, I had run into box up one side and down the other. I had talked to you and Tamarie about that, and so I figured I'd better drop back about 10 yards and regain my composure, and so I've put in some applications with the VA, and I've gotten 2 interviews, so I'm hoping to get hired, and that way that will give me a little bit of extra money to play with, and that way I can, get some equipment, and stuff like that I need. And I figured if I can't beat them another way, and since they wouldn't, the state turned me down, the VA turned me down, everybody turned me down. I'm still practicing a little bit, but I've really concentrated in the last couple of months, and I've been pushing as hard as I can to get some kind of a job that I can do, and both of the jobs are with the VA, and both of them pay fairly well. So
Good.
Right now that's what I'm looking at.
Good.
Is to try to get hired on, and then once I get hired on, I can set aside a certain amount of money so that I can expand my little shop and keep working at it.
Well, I think once you have just an ongoing plan, that my brother-in-law Chris lost, my sister died a month ago, and it's been so traumatic where he's been hooked at the hip with her for 30 straight years, and now all of a sudden she's gone. And Chris, all his life, he's never taken a step, never been able to walk one step. He can't run, he can't manage, can't get his shoes on his own in the morning. So he's had these physical challenges that have really been amazing. I just can't get over that he's still the kind of disposition and natured person that he is. But his constant theme is there's always a way. I can't do it this way, but there is always another way. And I think getting together this week way we're doing here is really, that's what the saving grace for all of us is this particular group are pretty good at hanging in there. And I don't know any other way to go at your life than making a plan, making a target, even if there is a bit of a challenge to it, and then just keep at it. Just do not back off until something finally breaks loose for you. So,
that's what I've had to do. Is I've kind of had to, if I can't hit it one way, you know, I've got to regroup and try coming around the other way and working my way around certain things and trying to hit it again, you know.
Yeah. No.
So
That'll work.
I'm not giving up. It's just I've had to redirect a little bit, you know.
Good enough, Ed. Well, you hang in there, bud, okay?
Yes,
Joni,
sir, I will.
are you still
Good
there,
luck,
dear?
Oh, one more thing. I'm going to train with Jose tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I
Good.
forgot. Well, that is
It's going to be fun.
That is going to be fun. You tell that old codger hello for me, all right?
I'll do it.
He's one of the. I remember from the very beginnings with Jose, he was so determined. I just had never met anybody other than me that once he decides he's going to do it, they're just hell and high water and nothing in between. And he's so good at that. So you're sitting down with one of the best, that's for sure. He's moving down your way, Ron. He's going to move to Florida here right away. So you'll have Jose on the eastern end of the country here before long. All right, next Friday night we go to show 3. We'll take on the next couple of scrolls. The idea is what Mangdino's presenting to you begins to become a habitual way of thinking. That's what you're after. So the idea of doing it 3 times a day for 30 days is quite a strain. Most people cannot do that. They cannot make that happen. And you just have to begin to make that change and transition. It will shift your thinking, I promise. And it will make huge dividends in the selling process. All right, gang. Catch you next week. Thanks for coming and appreciate your participation a great deal. We'll see you
Good
next
night.
Friday night. Good night.